Just as Sejun followed Kwang into the prehistoric cave, he widened his eyes at the sight of some creatures that seemed strange, or rather very familiar, but strange. The white rabbits looked like they had sunbathed for over 180 minutes in Africa. Their fur completely turned black, except for Sickle Rabbit, easily recognized by the green cloth it often tied around its head, now stomping its feet in extreme discontent. They were even blacker than ink, each one looking up at Sejun, waiting for an explanation that he found amusing. After some cleaning, they'd return to white, but they all just turned into black rabbits, didn't they? Seeing the mother rabbit wiping Ink's face was even funnier. She consoled, "Oh, my handsome son." But he quickly protested, "I didn't get any of that on me. This black is natural from birth." At this moment, Sejun and Kwang approached the pond. Looking down, they clearly saw 2 or 3 squids swimming very fast. Sejun was wide-eyed, while the red bear beside him was 10 times more amazed. These creatures were something Kwang had never seen before. However, these squids couldn't hurt him, so the small bear kept holding on tightly. These must have come from the endless sea through a hole in the pond. Sejun didn't expect there to be so many. Kwang held out the squid in his hand, recounting that Black Rabbit once said he caught this while hunting by the pond because it looked strange, but it kept squirting black liquid. The rabbits had never seen them before, so they didn't know what they were. Ink cautiously eyed the creature in Kwang's hand and added grumpily, "These things are weird. They're all squishy and slippery." Ah, now Sejun understood the kid's attitude. He realized they probably didn't know what a squid was. The two of them widened their eyes, surprised, and asked in unison, "A squid?" Introducing what a squid was would take a long time, so Sejun suggested a more memorable way. "It's really delicious. Do you want to try it?" Actually, the farmer probably wanted to try it more. Almost a year since entering this place. He hadn't tasted squid at all, right? Let the farmer and chef of this cave show his talent for everyone. Sejun started cleaning the squid and cutting it into even rings. Not far from him was a pan of eel oil boiling vigorously, exuding a fragrant aroma of scallions and a few other ingredients to enhance the flavor. The shiny squid rings were immediately dropped into the eel oil pan. They sank a bit, then quickly floated up, blending with the bubbling oil, looking glossy like they were shining bling-bling. In no time, Sejun plated the finished dish, proudly placing it on the wooden table, presenting, "The squid dish is done." None of them could define the dish as fast as the system. It immediately jumped in to name it as stir-fried squid. "You have completed the spicy stir-fried squid. Cooking level 2 has slightly increased. The spicy stir-fried squid recipe has been registered with cooking level 2. That's not all. Sejun still had another dish, keeping the squid whole. It was shining invitingly, and according to the system definition, it was called grilled whole squid. Nearby was a large plate full of fresh squid rings, neatly arranged next to beautifully cut squid tentacles, not to mention a bowl of bright red dipping sauce that looked extremely appetizing with some fragrant roasted white sesame seeds. The sashimi squid dish looked simple, but anyone who ate it would be highly addicted, and the rabbits in Sejun's cave were from the Black Tower. They ate everything, not to mention raw squid. Seeing the strange and eye-catching food laid out, Ink's ears flapped continuously like a fan, its mouth gaping, ready to drool. Kwang beside wasn't much different. The little bear's eyes sparkled with excitement. Both let out a dreamy, "Wow!" The whole family each took a piece to enjoy all 3 dishes, but perhaps Sejun was the happiest. He had just taken a spoonful of spicy stir-fried squid into his mouth, chewing deliciously, wondering how long it had been since he last ate squid. This spicy flavor really made him crave a bowl of white rice to eat with. Beside him, the rabbit siblings were each given a whole grilled squid, munching happily. This squid was chewy and crispy, very different from the fish they had eaten before. Kwang alone could eat a whole plate of raw squid, eating directly without caring about the sauce, only knowing this dish was super delicious. After finishing the grilled squid, Ink ran over to try some raw squid from Kwang's plate. It ate with focus, thinking that to have such delicious things, maybe it should consider the endless sea more carefully. The little bear laughed happily with arms wide open. Brother, let me go with you." The rabbit couple fed each other affectionately, not caring about what the little ones were doing. Sejun, seeing Kwang's eagerness, asked, "Do you know how to dive?" Suddenly, the child's face drooped, as if realizing for the first time that to go with Mr. Squid, they had to know how to do that. Meekly replied to his father, "I don't know." Unexpectedly, Sejun's voice sounded extremely enthusiastic. "All right, after we finish cleaning the field today, I'll teach you how to dive." Of course, the child agreed. He exclaimed excitedly, not hiding his enthusiasm. After getting a bunch of stuff from the Supreme Witch Iona, Elka led 2 young members of the Silver Wolf tribe, carrying piles of things on their backs, straight to the merchant's path to return to the farm. Besides the cat on the chieftain's back, there was also a tiny hamster next to it. Suddenly, he looked up in surprise when he heard the chatter. Seeing a lot of merchants and all kinds of monsters buzzing in front of the entrance, but no one going inside, the tunnel was empty, not a soul in sight, all gathering outside, where 2 figures, one tall and one short, were announcing discontentedly, "This high-speed passage is closed. Please take a detour." These guys weren't wearing government uniforms, but dared to prevent others from entering. Immediately, there were voices of dissatisfaction in the crowd, demanding to move aside to let people through. Seeing the chaotic situation, Theo poked his head down and asked Elka, "What's going on, meow?" He didn't know what to say, told his subordinates to go ask around, while honestly responding to the traveling cat that he didn't know either. The path manager is controlling traffic here. The subordinates will gather information and report back immediately, Chieftain. I have asked around, and they said red locusts have also appeared on the 69th floor. What? Elka asked in shock. Red locusts? Seeing the chieftain's astonished expression, Theo the cat didn't understand, lowered his head and asked, "What's that?" Before the Silver Wolf tribe leader could answer, the hamster beside him replied, "They are pests known as the Shadow of Destruction." The great sorcerer looked extremely serious, with a bit of displeasure when informing the cat. Their appearance signals the beginning of a catastrophe. Theo didn't understand, tilted his head and asked again, "Pests?" It didn't understand why mere locusts could cause such harm to the extent that Iona made it sound so serious. However, the hamster didn't say much, just, "That's how it is. They are creatures created to eat and destroy everything. That's it. They are beings that try to take away the homes of those living in the tower. Right now, the Magic Tower and the Mercenary Guild might be controlling movement in the passages to combat the Red Locusts." I see. Iona was not surprised at all upon hearing that the paths were blocked. It turned out she already knew why they were doing this. Explaining a bit more to the still confused traveling cat, Iona said, "At first, I was supposed to join the guild, but meeting the Black Dragon is the top priority. So let's quickly move to the Lightspeed Passage." Theo frowned in confusion. Meow? Isn't the Lightspeed Passage a special path reserved only for high-ranking traveling merchants? I am an intermediate traveling merchant, so I can't go through that. Meow. Iona bowed her head, didn't explain much, just said it would be fine because she's here with them. Let's go. To stop the cat next to her from asking nonsense, little Iona pulled out a badge as big as a wagon wheel from her cloak. It bore the emblem of the Merchant Guild, adorned with an impressive red tassel. Theo's face was in total surprise when it recognized the item. What's that? Isn't that the golden badge only high-ranking traveling merchants receive? A symbol of power allowing unlimited use of all shortcut routes. The cat suddenly looked all lovey-dovey, it softly called, "Iona, let's get along well, meow." Suddenly changing attitude like that, Iona think is not stupid. The hamster immediately wanted to hide the badge. "I don't care what Theo wants, but I must refuse first. I don't want to." Meanwhile, in Sejun's endless field, a hard-working day began with harvesting green onions. His lush green onion field stretched to the horizon. Looking up, Sejun felt his day was so long. No matter how skilled a farmer he was, it was still very hard work. He glanced at the bunch of green onions he just cut, now tucked under his sweat-drenched armpit. Green onions grew so fast that the intervals between harvests became shorter. We keep separating and planting them, and before I realized it, the field expanded to 2,000 pyong. This unit is used in Korea, roughly calculating it to about 6,600 square meters, everyone. What Sejun said was true. He shouldn't call it a green onion field anymore. Calling it a green onion forest would be more accurate. Only now did he realize why there were no rabbits around him. Where did everyone go that no one ran past here? I heard the sound of green onions being cut, but I didn't see them. Amidst the rustling, a panicked voice suddenly cried out, "Pika," which Sejun immediately recognized. It was the sickle rabbit. Looking over there, he couldn't see any rabbits because the green onions were too tall, so the farmer had to squeeze through and ask what was wrong. The sickle rabbit looked unusually confused, as if something wasn't right. Seeing Sin, it sorrowfully called out, "Uncle, these green onions are strange. We can't cut them." The sickle rabbit pointed to the onion stem next to it, making Sejun look down at the sickle in his hand and the scissors of his little brother in surprise. "How could that be?" he chuckled, reaching out to the onion stem, thinking the rabbits were just teasing him. But as soon as he grabbed the leaf, a sharp pain shot through his hand. He yelped in surprise, realizing that the green onion was cutting into his hand, and quickly pulled back, clutching his hands together in pain. The rabbit siblings panicked along with Sejun, hurriedly looking up and crying out, "Pika, what's wrong, uncle? Are you okay?" Looking at his palm with a small but bleeding cut, the farmer was amazed to realize, "The green onion cut through my skin?" Sejun cautiously approached it again, using his index finger to tap on the stem, realizing this green onion's stem was hard, almost like a piece of painted iron. He tapped it several times, muttering, "Don't tell me I guessed right!" Bending down, he pulled out the entire green onion, and luckily, the white root part in Sejun's hand wasn't hard, so he could easily lift the clump of roots from the ground. The system immediately popped up with continuous notifications. "You have harvested the hard-blade green onion, achieving the feat of creating a new plant species in the tower. The tower grants you exclusive planting rights for new species. No one is allowed to plant hard-blade green onions without your permission." Then the system displayed the item information in front of Sejun for him to check immediately. Hard-blade green onion. Due to continuous cutting, this is a mutated green onion that has metallized its leaves to protect itself. This item is grown inside the tower, using all nutrients from the soil to make the leaves sharp and hard, reducing its flavor and nutritional value. No effect when consumed. Grower, Tower Farmer Park Sejun. Shelf life, 90 days. Grade C. It was indeed a pleasant surprise, seeing the shiny leaves under the sunlight. Sejun exclaimed, "Just as I guessed, this is a new species." But what should he do with it? Sejun flipped the green onion leaf back and forth in his hand, realizing it had no consumable use, and it was even metallized. Suddenly coming up with an idea, he swung the green onion leaf in his hand, slicing through the nearby regular green onions, seeing them cut effortlessly in an instant. More than 10 leaves were cut smoothly. The farmer exclaimed in delight, seeing a pile of white roots exposed in the field. "This is perfect. I used green onions to cut green onions." Clearly, the speed was much faster than using a sickle, scissors, or knife. Sejun held it up excitedly, thinking, "This could be useful wherever I go. I need to plant a lot of these." Just then, the system notification popped up right in front of Sejun's eyes, and the only notification that dared to block his way could only be from the tower manager. He was surprised to read the message. The tower manager is tearfully requesting to consult about their worries. Sejun was stunned, inadvertently calling out, "Eileen, she didn't answer when I called. I'm very worried." Just as he finished reading the message, he bewilderedly asked, "Consult about what? What's going on?" Suddenly, a stream of something dripped onto the notification, dripping down below, trembling violently. It was marked with indentations like tightly closed eyes from crying, with 2 huge bubbles looking like a face of a dragon sobbing. Sejun exclaimed in shock, "What is this? Are you crying?" Not receiving a response, he became more panicked. "Aileen." A while later, the matter was clarified. Sejun sat cross-legged on the grass with the rabbit family and Queng on his lap. It turned out red locusts had invaded the 67th floor of the tower. The system notification confirmed it. The system manager nodded, affirming that the red locusts had made the mother rabbit so stressed she felt dizzy. Those things entered the tower again. Still can't forget that scene. The father rabbit immediately comforted his wife, saying, "Calm down, dear. It's not good for the baby in your belly." Sejun worriedly asked Aileen, "Are they the creatures that destroyed the rabbit kingdom before?" Another nod from the tower manager, so he continued to ask, specifically, "What are they like?" On the other side of the globe, the black dragon replied, "A single one is not really dangerous, but when they eat everything, the swarm evolves as their numbers increase. Furthermore, they will invade other floors, one by one, through the checkpoints. The thing that worries everyone is if this isn't resolved quickly, no living creature on the 67th floor, where the invasion has occurred, will survive. All will perish. If that happens, this place won't be safe anymore. Never encountered them before, but the information sounds urgent." Sejun rubbed his chin, thinking, a swarm of locusts that evolve by eating everything? Aileen, sitting on the stone floor, gloomily told him with hesitation, I have a situation that prevents me from acting on the 69th floor right now. The dragon's meaning was conveyed by dozens of notification panels displaying, cannot connect, wanting to cover the entire wall behind. Unable to specify more to Sejun, she could only roughly inform him and apologize. Seeing Sejun's worried face through the sphere, Aileen finally timidly spoke. I'm very sorry, but I need your help. Her tiny claws on her big hands scratched each other, showing extreme confusion that Sejun couldn't see. Despite this, the farmer still nodded. Don't worry, Aileen. If there's anything I can help with, I'll do it. Then Sejun immediately stood up, clenching his fist to show his determination to the dragon. You don't need to apologize. I'm the farmer of this tower after all. This place is now my home too. I can't let it become unsafe. Looking down at the tiny creatures at his feet, Sejun excitedly informed Aileen. Theo and the rabbit family, and also the wolves and minotaur, they'll also set aside other matters if it's for the tower. Ink shouted the loudest among them, representing everyone to affirm. That's right, Lady Aileen. Please trust the residents of the tower. The black dragon felt warmth as she saw the image of Sejun telling the rabbits, let's discuss how to solve this together. The rabbits hopped around his feet in agreement, significantly easing her worries. Aileen was just a very young dragon, with many things she didn't know how to handle and had no one to confide in. Seeing she wasn't blamed for being a great black dragon but unable to do anything properly, she suddenly felt so moved she wanted to cry. Thanking Sejun was one thing, but she also had to thank everyone very much. However, the farmer, after making grand proclamations, suddenly paused. But how do we solve this? I can't even go down the tower. Just at that moment, Sejun heard an extremely familiar voice. It was Theo waving at him. I'm back! Meow! Seeing the cat's cheerful face, just in time as he had something to tell it, Sejun happily prepared to speak, only to notice another creature beside it, making him stare wide-eyed at the tiny being next to Theo. It extended a hand toward the mouse, revealing 2 ears under the cloak, looking up at Sejun with evaluation. May I introduce, we have a guest! Meow! Iona very politely bowed and spoke. Nice to meet you. Not wasting time, the mouse looked up and got straight to the point with a crucial question. Are you the great black dragon? What? Sejun was shocked to see the mouse suddenly appear, even more surprised by Iona's question. This was clearly a hamster, speaking to him so formally. Queng, meeting a cute little mouse for the first time, hid behind his father's leg, peeking out with curiosity, also wanting to know what a mouse was like.